Wow, we've made it. We have made it to the end of the week. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. I'm one of your co-hosts, David, and we are coming at you from our studio here in Sin City, Nevada, with our week daily live show. Before we get into the content, quick disclaimer, nothing that's said on this channel should be taken as financial advice, so please, as always, do your own research. With that being said, I'd like to introduce you to the man of weird moves, Big Rob. What's up?
Hola, it's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, the stale information, and we package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here at Sin City Crypto, we don't just do live streams. We also do deep dives, and we argue a lot. So make sure you check out the deep dives, and make sure you listen to when we argue. And then, if you have not liked the video yet, we will pause and give you a moment to like the video.
Moment passed.
Now, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. I think everybody here is probably already subscribed. And then lastly, there's a notification bell. You don't want to miss any of our content. That's right. How you feeling, David?
I'm doing good. Eddie, how you doing?
How you feeling, Eddie?
Good, bro. I'm wearing my Yeezys today.
That's right. Show them the Yeezys. Show them the Yeezys.
We can't. Oh, that's
the
bottom.
I wanted to talk crap about him yesterday.
Yeah.
That's my boy, Eddie.
How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's having a good day. Give me a shout out. Who we got? We got Talks. Doesn't want to live in New York anymore.
Amen.
Robin has an extra bed in his house.
That's right.
Live with him.
We
We got Brokioshi. We got Hedge Pro. Who else? We got Crypto Geek.
Crypto Junkie.
Crypto Junkie. And Hedge Pro. I think I said that already.
did.
Marky Mark and Russell. What's up, Russell? How you doing? And Heteron.
Hendy.
Andy.
Oh, Hindi, baby.
And Willamanter. Olga. Third Babe. What's up, everyone?
I want to give a special shout out
Dude.
to, I'm saying in a second. I want to give a special shout out to my son, Thomas. He just tried out for his club soccer team. He made the first team. Son, I'm very proud of you, buddy. I love you. And my daughter, Ella, she wanted a shout out too. So, Ella, Daddy loves you. And Liam, I love you too. All right. Robin, I hate you.
You done, bro?
I'm done, yeah.
Okay.
Sean also. Sean, welcome back, my friend.
Want to do a shout out, Rob?
I don't see DFib in here, so no.
D-Fib, we love you, buddy. We miss you. Hope you're doing okay.
All right. So
We have Forrest on today.
oh yeah,
Forrest from Crypto Stackers will be on, our favorite guest. This man has been coming on our show every Friday, and we are very thankful. And so today, please make sure you stay tuned. We dropped his Crypto Stackers YouTube channel link, and also the sign up if you want to sign up for his platform, his software. We dropped that in the description of this video as well. Make sure you go support this man. We love Forrest. I know you guys love him too. So
Yeah, and if there's any projects you want us to discuss, make sure you drop it in the chat. We will forward that information to old Forrest himself.
Yeah.
Now, Bitcoin is down. The bears are out. I do the bull thing.
what's your bear thing? Let me see your bear thing. That's not a bear. Bear is that a sleepy bear or what?
I don't know. If you guys know how to do a bear impression, let me know. I think like if I had like a salmon, maybe I'd just bite a salmon and be like,
Here, this is your salmon.
get out of here, man. All right, so yeah, we're down.
But not out.
We're not out. We're under 30,000. So we are in the same place we were, the last 3 weeks? Yeah. You know, we had initially we fell off of the, what was the 30K channel. And then we went right back up. We were at 30, you were at 31. We dipped down to 29, back to 29. You know, but if you look at what do we got? The month chart pulled up here. No, I'm not even looking at my chart. Okay. If you look at the chart here, this is the 1 month. So essentially since the 10th of May, 11th of May, this is where we've been at. Actually, yeah, the 10th or 11th of May. So almost a full month at this point. A little over 3 weeks. Just right around 30,000. And so where are we going to go? I mean, obviously we can look at the analytics, and we will when no Forrest is on. But I think this is the bear market zone, in my opinion. I know you think it's a lot lower, and I do believe we'll dip down. I can see Bitcoin going down to, say, 25,000, 23,000, 24,000. Other people think it'll go lower. Exactly where the bottom is, it doesn't really matter. But I think 30K is the favorable zone for the bear market, or the long-term support / resistance, and where we'll just hang out. So yeah, I think that's the new norm there until the next the next bull market. So getting back at the full market in its entirety here, Ethereum under $1,800. I'm gonna start. I want to ask Forrest, because I got 4 buys lined up, and my first buy is at 1605. And so, is that a good buy? I mean, what do you guys think? You think 1605 is going to fill, or do you think I should aim lower? I mean,
I think 16 is a good number.
I'm going 4 buys, so that's going to be my first.
I would even put some at 17.
I don't want to go to 17. I feel so strongly that 1605, and I'm even questioning, should I put my first buy at 1500? But I don't know if it'll get down there. So with that said, first buy right now, and I could change my mind. I got my first Ethereum buy, $1,605 via Binance. And so 3 more to come. I'm bringing it up in equal parts of 25% a buy. Yeah. Now Cardano up 22% for the week, but down 5% today. So great value there. It did flip XRP, and Solana is just straight tanking. So $38 Solana. We discussed it yesterday. I just think, risk versus reward. Solana just seems like it has undue risk for where it's at when comparable assets have the similar returns without as much risk. And, at the end of the day, if you're a dev and you're building on Solana, you got to be somewhat nervous.
You have to be.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's no way.
To say you're not, and just to, if you're a hodler, you're a retail investor and you're behind Solana, that's cool. But when your business relies on the functionality of the base layer chain, you can't, like Walmart, for example, can't rely on a web service. Like, say they use Amazon Web Service. I don't know what web service the online retail department of Walmart uses, but they can't have their website go down with regularity for long periods of time. It's just not a feasible business option. Now, if I personally use Walmart and it happens to be down today, cool, I'll go on tomorrow. It doesn't really bother me as much. And the same can be said for users. So if you're buying and transacting NFTs, the fact that the network goes down doesn't really change your philosophy on how you work on the network. As long as you don't essentially bottom out and go to zero, you really don't care.
Right.
But if you are a DApp, if you are a NFT platform, and you literally have investments, you have quotas, you have goals, and you have people's money at stake, and your business models is solely dependent on the functionality of the base layer. If the base layer doesn't work, that's a problem. And so for that, extremely nervous. That's my Solana rant today. And then taking a look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, we're at 10. This is dropping. I wouldn't, and with the sentiment of the market, with the stock market taking a big L today, minus 2%. We're going to go into the weekend red on Wall Street. We're going to go into the weekend with fear. And we're going to go into the weekend under a key support level of 30,000. Where do I think we're going to go? I think we're going to be at 27,000 at some point over the weekend. That's my non-analytical, no chart, just my personal gut feeling. We're under 30K, major resistance / support. Legacy finance looking ugly. Gas prices are up. inflation, doo-doo. And so, and the volume is straight drained out of crypto.
Yeah, I mean, and the volume is just not there. We are
That's
we are
fine.
65 billion in trading volume, so which might do your theory a disservice.
So it's just now here's the thing: the crypto markets will surprise you. A lot of times when you think it's going to do one thing, it does the opposite. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Put it this way: if I come in on Monday, we're sitting at 34,000. That happens in crypto all the time, but just off of sheer percentages and what all the indicators for me are saying, we're going to go lower over the weekend. If not the weekend, at least next week. So hence the reason I got a $1,600 buy on Ethereum, and I don't even know if that's low enough. I'm thinking maybe even drop that first buy down because I got so much conviction.
Dude, 1,600 is a great buy.
It is. And at the end of the day, like I've said before, it's a value proposition. Will I be kicking myself for buying Ethereum at $1,600? Hell no. Absolutely not. And so for me, I'm cool with it at that. But at the same time, I'm not trying to time the bottom, but I'm pretty sure the bottom is way lower than, say, 1,600. I think the bottom is like 1,100. What do you think the bottom is, David?
For ETH? Well, it depends on where Bitcoin is. Someone asked me this question, I think on one of the things.
Well, I mean, like,
look, if Bitcoin's under 20K, ETH is going to be under 1,000.
you think ETH will be under 1,000?
Yeah. But you just never, I like historically, we have never been in this sort of macroeconomic climate with cryptocurrency being, 12, 13-year-old asset. So for me, there's a lot of unforeseen things that can happen that we haven't seen yet. We can't compare it to. Sure, we can compare this bear market to the last one, to the one before it. But at the end of the day, on a macro level, so many things are different that it's hard to gauge where exactly it'll go, what exactly it'll do. But what I lean back on is what are risk-on assets doing? Bitcoin, ETH, crypto, they're considered risk-on assets. They should follow suit. So we'll see. But a lot of things can happen. Spot ETF. There's an article we're going to talk about today. The amount of Bitcoin being bought for these ETFs is growing. It's at all-time highs. So you got positive on-chain analysis, and then you have negative macro sentiment. So it all just depends. Also, I just want to say something. Sean, you got to come into our chat more, man. This dude says some of the funniest stuff. He said, the good news about Solana is that it is the most environmentally friendly blockchain. You can't have a carbon footprint if the network is always off.
That's right.
That's hilarious. Real quick, I want to show a chart. I want to show a chart on my laptop. Rocco, if you want to switch my laptop real quick, my friend. So this is a tweet from Mr. Hoskinson. Daily on-chain transfer volume over the last 7 days. We have ADA, Bitcoin, ETH, Polkadot, Doge, and Algorand, right? All started January. ADA was at 2.5 billion, being the highest out of the 6 that I listed. In April, they were only behind Bitcoin, and in May, everything dropped, but again, only behind Bitcoin. So as far as daily volume, daily transfer volume, year to date, ADA is up 369% compared to everything else being in the red. Things are we talk about ADA a lot on this channel. We are big fans. Everything, the sentiment of the market, and for these numbers to still come out, ADA is growing behind the scenes. When the bear market's over and the bull market comes back, ADA will be a top player in the space.
Cardano, baby.
Yeah, what Eddie said. That's all I got for this.
Some other buzz going on here. Just to touch on some quick articles. Just to kind of double back, won't spend too much time on it, but what's going on in the legacy finance. If you're wondering if we are in recession, I mean, Elon Musk, one of the richest man in the world, one of the top companies in the world, Tesla, cuts 10% of its workforce. So one of the largest companies is going down. We got
You eat butter toffee again?
now the May jobs report. Payrolls rise by 390,000 as unemployment holds. So my question is, if payrolls rise, who's getting that money? You think the CEOs and board members are getting that money?
Probably.
Yeah, that's my guess. Because I don't think the middle class worker is getting a raise. I mean, you have seen some buddies. You have seen like McDonald's and Target and a lot of the, I know Costco. So a lot of the kind of the brick and mortar retails are raising their base layer salaries, or at least wages. Hours or wages. However, I don't think your like blue collar worker, the guy that works at the steel mill and those people, I don't think they're, at least in comparison to inflation, they're not getting adequate amount of pay. And then before we bring Forrest on, I didn't want to touch on this. Inside Edition had a breaking story here in Las Vegas. They did a whole deep dive into Las Vegas pools. So they went to a couple of our pools out here. If you haven't been to a Las Vegas day club pool, it is literally a pool that doesn't go past your hips. Put it that way. And so it's just enough water to be on the backside, and just enough water to clean you down there and float around. And so, anyways, they found some potentially harmful bacteria.
That's not going to go away.
None of these.
No.
You got me all zoomed in, all crazy. Thank you. All right. So some pools are jam packed. We got, and we're Sin City Crypto, so we got to cover our Vegas stuff here. So yeah, not just for the tokens here in Vegas, but anyways, tested positive for E. coli. And there was some funny videos on this. I won't play the video, but there's a whole 20-minute investigative report.
Dateline 20 for 20, or whatever it's called.
And so if you come to Vegas, for the love of God, don't go swim in the day pools. It ain't worth it, man. At least just get a cabana, maybe put your feet in with boots on, but that's it. That's it, bro. And then also, so Tiger Global, which is another company they're a venture capital company, publicly traded. They're down 50%. Heavily invested in the tech sector. They are one of the big venture capital funds in cryptocurrency. They have I think over almost $500 million in investment. So major player taking L's. So just another layer of
crap.
Of basically, if you're wondering if you're curious if we're in a bear market, look at the venture capital, because they're the ones that have the most money in crypto. It's not the retail investor. Well, a retail investor maybe in Bitcoin, but as far as some of your altcoins, the biggest players are VC funds, private investors, things of that nature. And if they're taking L's, then that's an issue. Anyways, without further ado, you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Eddie, you ready?
Yes.
You know me, I love TA, so I can say
Let's get our boy Forrest on here. Let's go.
There he is, the man himself. What's up, Forrest?
Hey, how's it going? I'm sitting here trying to figure out what kind of pool chemical stocks I can buy right now, like chlorine or whatever.
Man,
investing heavily in chlorine.
Invest heavy in Clorox.
Yeah.
I was watching the video, and the guy, the video for that, the guy had a little a sample bottle.
Oh god!
And he was scooping the water out of the corner of the pool where things float, and there was cigarette butts in there, fingernails, and he was just and there's this weird film in there, and he was and I'm like, man, if you go into the corner where the sludge is, that's where it's gonna be the most. You should, if you're gonna sample, you should take it out of the middle. I'm just my own personal analytics there, but
hey, Forrest, I got a couple questions before we start the segment. So first and foremost, are you a shoe guy?
Am I a shoe guy, like a sneakerhead?
Yeah.
Not really, but a little bit. I can appreciate a really nice pair of shoes. I can appreciate.
What are your thoughts on Yeezys? Do you like the Yeezys?
I got a pair. They may or may not be real.
Yes.
They got them on Amazon for $80.
What?
Yeah.
I need to go to Amazon.
They're definitely not real.
So,
but yeah, I like it.
I'm in the camp that they're ugly, and that's why he brings it up.
You're ugly,
They're
bro.
ugly shoes. Bro.
And then the second question. What are your thoughts on butter flavored toffee? Or taffy. Butter flavored taffy.
It's like butterscotch, but in a
disgusting.
chewy
It's
format,
literally
bro.
butter. Are you a fan?
Honestly, I don't even know if I've ever had it, but
Don't.
I like butter. Like I like Butterfingers, and that's probably the
Hey,
closest. Like
when you
comparison
come to Vegas, you come
Totally.
hang out with us in the studio. We gonna
Eat some butter toffee.
We're gonna eat some butter toffee, Butterfingers,
sounds good.
butterscotch.
That's
Forward
terrible.
to it.
You know.
All right, Forrest. We are turning this channel over to you, my friend.
Before I turn it over to you though, I want to say I want your insight,
Bro, it's
four-
not always about you.
I got four.
Forrest, tell
four
me where I
buys.
should buy.
I got my Ethereum loaded up, man. I got it stable coined. I put my first buy limit in, so I got 25. My plan, 4 buys. I got in my bag 4 buys. My first buy order is at 16.05, and then I don't know where my second, third, and fourth are. But
He wants you to hold his hand, pretty much.
yeah, that's it. Not investment advice, of course. I'm doing my own research, gathering my information. There we go. Anyways, yeah. Without further ado, take it away.
Nice. All right, I'll share my screen here, and let me know if you guys can see this chart on TradingView. Are you guys able to see this?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see. I know what the problem is.
It's Robin.
Man,
It's always
it might
Robin,
take me out.
Forrest. When in default is to blame Robin, okay?
Right.
There we
All
go.
right.
Perfect.
Now it's gonna let me.
Oh, there's too many.
Sorry about that, guys. That's on my end. On my end. I used the wrong input on OBS. All right, guys. So we're looking at light crude oil futures here instead of crypto, unfortunately today. But we're looking at crypto in just a second. We're starting out with light crude oil futures because. And if
We still
throw
don't have
on-
your screen. I don't have your screen yet. I don't know if you.
Still don't have the screen.
We had it for a second.
we
and then
go.
There we go. Perfect.
Apologies. All right. I want to set this on a. Actually, let me do this. Let me get rid of that, and then I'm going to throw on a comparison. I want to show you guys the S&P 500 on a new price scale, and we're going to get that going on the logarithmic scale, and we're going to move it below. This orange line here is the S&P 500, right? And the chart you see up here is light crude oil futures. And what I've done is I've just fitted a set of easy bands onto light crude oil futures. And just to understand when does oil become overbought? And it becomes overbought, it's historically only in the last 40 years or so, going back to 1980, been overbought. This is the 4th time it's been overbought in this red easy band zone. And every time it's been overbought, except for the one time in 1990, which I'm assuming is due to the Gulf War situation, it spiked up to the red easy bands, came right back down, and we didn't see that big of an impact in the legacy market, the S&P 500, the orange line down here, right? But the past 2 times that oil has become very, very expensive, we've gone into a recession, and a pretty long recession at that, about 2 years, right? Maybe a little under 2 years for the last 2 recessions, right? From the point where oil peaked. And right now we're seeing oil in this very overbought region again. You can see these orange dashed lines. I've actually got alerts set in case that it falls down, because I just want to know when oil starts crashing. I want to see what the S&P 500 is doing. Now, Peter Lynch, and you can have anyone can have opinions about anybody, but he's a fairly successful investor, and he's got a good quote that I do like and appreciate, and that's more money's lost trying to predict and prepare for or time the market in terms of recessions than what is actually lost in those crashes or recessions, right? So we see that oil is overbought here, and this is characteristic of something that occurs before a recession. I mean, if you just think about it in terms of what expensive oil does to the entire economy, everything has a petroleum byproduct in it. Everything runs, all the shipping runs on oil, and then it trickles all the way down directly to the average consumer and the average investor, right? Between 8% inflation and oil prices at not an all-time high, but an all-time high in terms of being overbought, and darn close to an all-time high up here at $108 $119 a barrel. Between inflation and gas prices, what money do people have left over to invest in the market? And we know that the market needs a constant flow of money coming into it if it's going to go up, right? So this isn't the only recession signal that we're getting, but I think it's one of the scariest and one of the most obvious, right? So first things first is my plan is to take care of myself financially first, just making sure that I've got an emergency fund, right? Just making sure that I'm staying financially solvent and not getting so excited about buying the crypto dip, even though crypto's at great prices to buy and is oversold. I don't want to get so excited about buying the crypto dip that I put myself at risk financially for the next 2 years and end up having to either sell my crypto at dirt cheap prices or sell my house or cars or something like that. So the most important thing here is to not put yourself at financial risk. I do want to show this chart and revisit it. We're still on track, right? And I say this, I follow up the crude oil chart that looks very bearish and ominous with this chart because I do believe that this while it's evident and it looks like we're going into recession, whether or not we can hold on for another 4, 6, 8, 12 months before we really start crashing is uncertain. Right? A lot of previous recessions, like a lot of analysts, there's the doomsday analysts that have predicted 19 recessions in the last 19 years, and when they're right, they seem like geniuses, but they're really just predicting recession at any moment. The market could potentially rally if it follows this S&P 500 midterms fractal that we've gone over a couple times, right? We've got 2022 midterms coming up. We could easily see this. Whoops, we grabbed the wrong indicator there. We could easily see a little bit of a relief rally, maybe a bull trap. Maybe we retest these highs. Maybe we don't come up here, right? Maybe we don't come up here and make all-time highs in the S&P 500 by midterms, but maybe we continue to trend upwards. Right now, we're making a little bit of support on this downtrend line, which from a technical perspective is fairly bullish, right? Well, this is a little downtrend line where we've popped up above it, made support on top of it. Usually, if you're going to continue going down, one of the things that happens is you just get rejected at the retest and you just continue going down. So the market has at least rallied up. We're looking at the S&P 500 here, up about 9.5%, 10% off of the bottoms here. So there are buyers in the market trying to buy this dip, right? Now, whether or not we continue going down is to be determined. And moving into the Bitcoin chart, I want to talk about how I just don't believe that now is the time to be taking a hard stance in one direction or the other, right? Obviously, everything depends on your time frame, but now is definitely not the time to be all in bullish, right? All in bullish and just be 100% exposed to crypto and risk assets in the midst or in a time where we could be facing a recession in the upcoming days or months, weeks, months, however long. We don't know when it's going to come or if it's going to come at all, right? But we also don't want to be super bearish. We're already pretty oversold. We're like, who wants to be bearish on Bitcoin when it's already corrected 63, 64%, right? How much more downside is there really potential for? Well, there's potential for 20K. There's potential for 15, 16K if things get really, really ugly. But that doesn't mean that's guaranteed, and it doesn't mean that we're going to sustain those prices for a very long period of time. One thing I do want to draw people's attention to is that Bitcoin's like bear markets are very boring, and Bitcoin's just, other than the kind of the short squeeze that we had that took us up to $32,500, it's been a pretty boring market. And it's very reminiscent of this fractal that I just grabbed from last summer. And I just want to show you guys how, and this isn't what I'm saying is going to happen, but these consolidation phases can take a really long time, right? Last summer, this consolidation phase took 61 days. And right now, off of the bottom, we're only, 24, 25 days in. We're like 3 to 4 weeks in. So we could have another month of consolidation of Bitcoin just continuing to chop sideways. At least that's what it did last summer. If we look at previous consolidation phases in bear markets after large drops, right? After this large drop out of our range last market cycle, from the bottom here until we started really seeing this big candle come in, it was 109 days. And the side to side from crash to full recovery was 177 days, right? So a lot of new information is coming out into the market right now, but price action isn't really doing anything, right? And I say this isn't a great time to take a hard stance one direction or the other, because there's market participants that are operating on different time frames and with different goals in mind, right? There's 10 reasons, right? You can think of 10 reasons why Bitcoin should go up, right? Why it's a great time to buy Bitcoin. You can also think of 10 reasons why Bitcoin should go down. So you have these very confused opposing market pressures coming from both directions, and what that manifests as in terms of price action is just kind of this sideways dribble where, it looks like we might get a breakout and then it crashes, and it looks like it might crash and go lower and then it recovers, right? So honestly, I just expect a relief rally and a retest of $34,500, right? And if you look at what happened last summer, we spent the first half of this consolidation phase high above this line, and the second half testing it as resistance, right? I would not be surprised. And again, I hate to give like these little short-term predictions. If this 29.7K is kind of the line down the middle, or sorry, not 29.7K, that's our mid-range, right? $28,000, this support over here is where we're going to be consolidating on top of. And if we do anything like we did last summer, we'll come back down to retest these lows, right? This low of 25.4, maybe we even wick down to 24K, and we spend some time consolidating down here before coming up and retesting $34,500. $34,500 in this downtrend line is where I want to take some short positions. I want to sell, consolidate some of my portfolio, really focus on just Ethereum, and really manage some risk or de-risk, right? What does that look like? That might look like buying a put on Bitcoin, buying a put on Ethereum, buying or just selling, right? Selling some of my core portfolio holdings, just about anything but Ethereum. Now, do I believe that we could, right? Do I believe that it is possible that we could come back up, make support on this trend line and continue to move higher? Certainly, if we get that Ethereum merge catalyst coming in to push that up, right? But right now, everything's looking very, very bearish. If given the opportunity to de-risk at $34,500 in Bitcoin, I absolutely will. There's two other charts.
Hey, Forrest, can I ask you a question real quick before you move on? So seeing as, throughout the history of Bitcoin and the crypto markets, right, there's always been some sort of money printing, quantitative easing. The macro climate has been pretty decent, right? And then coming into where we are now on a macro level, are you putting less weight on historical moves or historical bear markets as far as comparing what was then and what can be now based off of the macro now versus the macro then?
Yeah, so what I personally isolate for, because I recognize that I'm not the most, I've got a couple of degrees in economics, but that just taught me enough to know that I don't know a lot about economics. You really have to be paying attention and studying it really, really hard to have a really good grasp on it. So what I do is, and I know it seems the best strategies in my opinion are strategies that are really simple and easy. My belief is that the market, for the most part, the market prices all of the variables, all the macroeconomic variables, everything all the information that we have to date is pretty much priced into the market. And the inefficiencies in price action that we can take advantage of are mostly related to emotion, fear, and greed. But as far as like the big stuff, like the quantitative tightening, quantitative easing, the stances of the Fed, money printing, all of that stuff, in my opinion, gets priced in the market fairly efficiently. And what we want to do is take advantage of when the market's like really oversold because of emotion, right? So right now, fear is super high. Fear is super high because of a lot of those other variables, right? But that's pretty much priced into the market, right? Bitcoin's corrected 63.34%, right? If we didn't have that fear in the market, we didn't have all of the quantitative tightening and the Fed tightening and raising interest rates, Bitcoin wouldn't be down 63%. All right, it'd be probably trading somewhere around $42,000 plus if we didn't have all of this, negativity and scary stuff. So the market's priced it in. Where we can take advantage of this in the long term is simply by understanding when price becomes oversold in the green easy bands and taking advantage of that. Right, like the last 4 times we've dipped down into the easy bands, those have been really, really like local bottoms, like great places to buy Bitcoin, both in the short term and the long term. So I know that's a weird way to answer your question. It's just, I believe that the price action for the most part, most stuff gets priced in. And I just want to take advantage when I sense high levels of emotion in the market, if that makes sense. So yeah, I agree though. It is a completely different macroeconomic situation. And if you kind of zoom out and we look at this chart, the whole point of this chart is to show that what happened last cycle didn't necessarily happen again this cycle, meaning on the bull market side, right? Meaning that on the bear market side, it may not happen to the downside. What I mean by that is last market cycle, we deviated 62% above our range, right? This mid-range where everything, the vast majority of price action for Bitcoin was, but we didn't get that this market cycle. We only peaked at $70,000, not 90 to 100K. Mm-hmm. And the same thing could be true to the downside. We may come back down here and touch 24K, but are we going to deviate down to $16,000? A lot of people think so, and maybe we do, but I just don't think it's guaranteed and high enough probability to just be out of the market completely and just banking on the fact that Bitcoin's going to come down to $16,000. Could it come down to $16,000? Yes, but I'm not going to bet on it by selling everything and waiting for it to come down to $16,000 because it might not. And I think there's a significant chance that Bitcoin doesn't come down to $16,000. I think, the 20 to 24K as a local bottom, sure, that's pretty reasonable. Probably the most likely scenario if I had to pick a most likely scenario. But $16,000, I feel like we're getting a little bit greedy to the downside, and waiting for $16,000 in Bitcoin to start buying is very similar to waiting for $90,000 to $100,000 to start selling. Right. It just may never come. So just a couple other charts really, really briefly. Altcoin dominance, we're just ranging, right? Altcoin dominance, this is just, the inverse of Bitcoin dominance, right? We're ranging. We're not even down in altcoin dominance. So basically altcoins are holding on better now than they were last summer. Meaning if we go to Bitcoin's crash last summer, altcoins have not really bled out. And I think that's where if altcoin dominance is to come back down and touch this support range, right, it's going to take another 20 to 30 days of Bitcoin just chopping sideways and scaring people and bleeding the market out before we find that support. And by the way, the altcoin dominance, I think this would be a really, really good support range to really be looking for Ethereum buys, because Ethereum is considered an altcoin. And that would be a very strong support level for altcoins.
Forrest, real quick, do you think that the altcoin dominance is going to stay on par for where it is now? Because and obviously we're in a new cycle, we're in a new era. The last cycle, it was like the ICO craze. So, you're shaking out all these crap projects, or at least new projects that were obviously lacking fundamentals. And so, I look at this altcoin cycle, or this cycle in general, as being vastly different because, one, there's utility, and before it was all speculation. And so now you have all these altcoins that actually have functionality. Like, you're not going to, everyone agrees, and Ethereum's probably not going to go to zero, neither is Bitcoin. At this point, Bitcoin's not, everyone's confident Bitcoin's not, Ethereum's not. And so, and why do you say that? Or why is that we have that shift in mentality? Because of functionality, and because of use case, and because the products that, were to be delivered, or, promised to be delivered last cycle are here. And so I think that you have people around for that reason. So, I'm kind of stuck in between. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, are we gonna bottom out and liquidate all these altcoins? Are we gonna get a massive discount on alts? When I'm even talking about below Ethereum, or are we gonna kind of hang out where we are because the altcoin space is developed and there's functionality? And I don't know. I'm torn in between those two ideas with myself. So, what do you think the direction might be with altcoins?
Yeah, it's really tough to say because, like you said, back in 2017, it was the ICO boom. This market cycle, it's been NFTs, and NFTs really aren't included in the altcoin dominance chart. I think most NFT projects are going to go to zero, just like most ICO projects went to zero. I think we'll see a couple, like Bored Apes will survive, obviously. CryptoPunks will, maintain some value. Some of the big ones will maintain value. But in terms of altcoins, it's tricky because if it wasn't for the Ethereum merge and Ethereum being included in this chart, I would say, yeah, we're probably going to come back down to this range, right? Over time, we do expect altcoin dominance to increase. Right, that's just a function of that. There's only one Bitcoin, right? There's only Bitcoin. Altcoin dominance is just a measure of the total market cap in comparison to the total crypto market cap in comparison to altcoins and comparing it to Bitcoin's market cap. I just butchered that explanation, but you guys know what altcoin dominance is, right? So normally I would say, yeah, we're probably just going to go down here and continue trending up across this line. Just because there's innovation going on in the altcoin space. This number going up isn't bad for Bitcoin. It just means that there's more stuff being built on Ethereum. There's more stuff being built on Cardano, on Solana, on Avalanche. There's more altcoins coming into the space and innovation coming into the space, and that's going to take away some dominance from Bitcoin over time. We would expect that. In the early days, it was basically just Bitcoin and just then a couple of altcoins came in. So obviously altcoin dominance was only 2 to 3%, right? So now we're all the way up here at 53%, where most of the total cryptocurrency market cap is made up or consists of altcoins. Now, because we have this Ethereum merge catalyst coming in, and I'm pretty bullish on it, and I think that it's going to take up a pretty decent amount of dominance. Maybe we come down to this line and the merge pops us back up to this level of 51% where we're currently at. Maybe we find support and the Ethereum merge pops us back up to this level, right? I'm not expecting anything crazy, but I do think that altcoins are probably going to bleed out. I've got the Cardano chart pulled up here just because I want to make a point. I think when I came on, somebody was asking the question, will I be disappointed if I buy Ethereum at $1,600? Well, sure, maybe in the short term, just like you would be disappointed in a bear market or the short term if you bought Cardano at, and of course I've got it on market cap. Let me go Cardano USD, calculated my trading view. There we go. So I can actually get the price numbers. Of course, you'd be disappointed in the short term buying Cardano at 13 cents and then it drops all the way down to 2 cents. But this wasn't Cardano was vaporware for a while. They didn't have a ton of stuff in the bear market, but it was also a very fundamentally solid project with really solid team and leadership. You'd be disappointed, right? But if you continued to average in on the green bands, right, all through the bear market, you'd not be disappointed right now at all. And you definitely wouldn't be disappointed when Cardano was at $3, right? So the whole point is we need to, it's smart to accumulate when the market's oversold, but time in the market's more important than timing the market at this point. If you're buying cryptocurrency at this point, it needs to be with a long-term mindset, for 2 to 3 years. I don't think if we get a recession or a bear market that it's going to be 2 to 3 years long, but that's about as long as any bear market or recession has lasted in the past. So that's what we need to be prepared for. So all that to say, just, yes, buying now still carries risk. There's still risk to the downside. $1,600 is an amazing price for Ethereum, especially based off of where the price has recently been trading. On average for the last 21 weeks, Ethereum's been priced at $2,700. Because the market's fearful right now, it's on discount at $1,700. It's in this green easy band accumulation zone. I'm a buyer here all day long. I've been accumulating here. If it goes lower, I don't care because I'll just continue to buy. But the reason I'm able to continue to buy is because I'm not going all in at $1,700, right? I'm just structuring out my buys and I'm staying financially solvent. I'm not going to have to sell my Ethereum at $600 if it drops that low. I don't think that it will. I think we could see $900 to $1,100. But if it does drop to $600, I'm not going to have to sell it to pay my mortgage. I'm not ever going to put myself in that situation. I would love to just be on my rent money and my mortgage money into Ethereum, that would be great, but that wouldn't be responsible, especially in the face of a potential recession. But yeah, now's the last thing I'll say is just reiterating, like, now's not the time to be going all in, right? When we're facing a Bitcoin halving and we have a pandemic crash and we're facing like a huge bull market, yeah, then take a really, really bullish stance down here, really, really bullish stance and get exposed to the market, right? But when we're on the tail end of a bull market and we're in a bear market, all right, taking a stance right here, bullish or bearish. Bearish because we're already oversold, right? We don't want to be too bearish, but we also don't want to be too bullish because we're facing recession. We just need to be willing to be flexible, dollar cost average in, and not take a hard stance in one direction or the other. At least that's my strategy.
Awesome. That was great stuff, man. So so now, I know you've talked about this before, but you accumulating ETH with the merge coming up, you got profit taking targets as well?
Red Easy Bands. I think it's completely. I shouldn't have unshared my screen. I think I'll share one more thing with you guys.
Are you gonna? So just to double on his question, are you looking just for when you're hitting the Easy Bands on your sell indicators? Or are you really trying to time maybe T minus 2-3 weeks before the merge? Or
not trying to time it really. I'm just basically I'll kind of summarize my entire crypto strategy for the foreseeable future right now with the Easy Bands here. Cool. Right? So going back to the last bear market, because that's kind of like where what we're kind of facing right now. As we enter the green Easy Bands, turning on the DCA, just DCAing. As we exit the green Easy Bands, turning off the DCA, just neutral, completely neutral. I will be looking to cut some stuff on this if we get a retest of the 21-week simple moving average like we did last market cycle. However, we kind of already got that retest. So if we get another one, I won't be looking to cut my Ethereum position. I'll be looking to cut some other positions and really get out of some NFTs. Right, so that's the only trade that I'll be making if we come back up to this mid-range. Otherwise, I'm just turning the DCA off, right? Turn the DCA back on, turn the DCA off, turn the DCA back on, right? For that entire period, turn the DCA off. And then I'm just looking, as far as taking profits, just the opposite of DCAing, just averaging out. Maybe I sell 1%, 2% per week that we stay up in this range, right? And then I'm just turning the DCA back on, right? Turning the DCA back on, right? Averaging out, right? But I'm never just selling everything because let's just say the Ethereum merge just completely blows our socks off and we end up going, and I don't think it's going to take us to like $12,000 Ethereum or anything like that. But there's a chance that, with ESG conscious investors, we actually get like a bunch of new crypto investors from investments from institutions. There is a chance that we see a really big move out of Ethereum, whether that's, conservatively more like to 3,000, 3,500, less conservatively, maybe to 5,000 to 6,000 if things go really, really well. So I never want to just be dumping everything, especially if it's Ethereum, but I'll take, in a length of period of time like that, I'd happily take 5, 10, 15% off the table and be looking to take profits in the future. What I do think is almost guaranteed, and I say that very hesitantly because, I never want to guarantee something or be that set in my beliefs. But if we just look at oil as a comparison, this is just world total liquid production versus world total liquid consumption. What you'll see is that whenever you get a shock in either direction, price can move for oil really, really quickly. And I think Ethereum's really going to start trading similarly to oil in terms of supply and demand. There's a certain demand right now for Ethereum. It's decreasing a little bit because we're in a bear market. And there's a certain supply for Ethereum. That incoming supply is going to move down drastically, very similarly to how the supply of oil recently, right? And I won't take too much more of your guys' time, but what's fascinating about this crude oil chart is that this crash was demand related. This crash in oil was completely demand related because of the pandemic. Everyone stopped driving. We had lockdowns, right? So oil went negative. Oil futures went negative, completely crashed. Very sensitive to shock and demand. Well, this rally in oil has been completely due to the demand coming back and restabilizing, but more so because of the supply, because of the Russia-Ukraine war and because of the lack of production in the United States. So this has been a supply crunch. So I believe that Ethereum, with the inputs and the outputs and the supply and the consumption, especially with the burn mechanism, is going to be very sensitive to these changes in supply and demand. And we're seeing this big demand shock, or sorry, this big supply shock, which I believe is going to do something similar. Just take us from the green easy bands to the red easy bands. So I think we're just going to go from oversold wherever that is. Maybe Ethereum continues to trend down to $1,300. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, right? And these red easy bands come down here, right? Merge comes in, we're probably up here to $2,800 to $3,700. That's what I think is going to happen. So I'll just DCA in here, DCA out up here, if that makes sense.
So when you compare Ethereum to gas, is it straight off of the premise of the token's utility and that people use it as like a gas, to power the network, in the same way that gasoline powers the financial network or the infrastructure here in the world?
Supply and demand.
Or do you think it's just?
Yeah, so it's kind of like there's a burn function. So like it's similar to oil, and like you literally burn oil and it's just gone. Like it is no more. With EIP 1559, like the more you use Ethereum on the Ethereum network, it just burns. It's gone. Like it goes in the burn wallet, the burn address, and it's gone. It's literally been burned, taken out of the supply, which is really interesting because it makes it such a close comparison, or so analogous to real oil. So you have this consumption that's being mined, and it'll no longer be mined. It'll be just staking rewards. So you kind of have like the stakers, the validators, which are like the oil rigs, right? And they're pumping some Ethereum into the market. But then you have the burn, which is actually going to be greater, right? The burn is going to be greater than the inflow. So the outflows, the outflow of Ethereum is going to be higher than the inflow. So it's a very similar situation to what we're seeing with oil right now, where we're just consuming more than what's being supplied. We're just consuming more than what's being drilled.
And then we did have one super chat, and I think we kind of discussed it, but we'll kind of just circle back real quick. But Marky Mark says, will altcoins keep getting destroyed? Is it worth staying in them, or take a loss and move into Ethereum or Bitcoin? Or do you think he should just hodl? So I guess this thing is should he sell at a loss to swap over to ETH or Bitcoin? I mean, my personal, I don't like selling at a loss, period. I think
it's good for Texas.
If you're in a project that's got sound fundamentals and it's going to be around, my personal opinion is that it'll rebound past your original buy order. So if you're looking just to move from one to the other, I don't really agree with that. If you're going to sell at a loss, it would be just because you need to pay bills. That's my philosophy.
Or you could be taking a short-term loss to get bigger gains. I mean, what do you think, Forrest?
Yeah.
It really depends on what the cryptocurrency is. Like, there are two like long-term holds that I'll just hold. If it's a conviction play, you're in 110%, and that's why you bought it. You bought it knowing full well that it could get destroyed in a bear market, and you told yourself you're going to hold through it anyways. Sure, by all means, right? Perfect example was the mistake that I actually made last market cycles. I bought Decentraland Mana for 3 cents. I dropped 12 grand into Mana. I bought 300,000, or no, it was like 400,000 Decentraland Mana, which in the bull market would have been worth $2 to $3 million. I sold at a 3.5x, which is still really, really solid, but then rolled those profits into like DeFi stuff, which didn't perform nearly as well as Mana did this market cycle. So if it's a conviction play and you 110% believe in it, everyone's got those conviction plays. I don't think those conviction plays should make up, like, especially if they're small caps, should make up like more than 20-30% of somebody's portfolio. Obviously it depends on your age, if you're like how big of a risk profile you have, most of your portfolio should not financial advice, should probably be in some large cap stuff that isn't like, hey, a 1000x moonshot type deal. Yeah. But if you're in solid play, like if you're talking about like AVAX, yeah, AVAX is probably going to bounce back, right? Could it drop down to that $5 to $10 range we talked about last week? Yes, right. But do you want to take the loss on it and roll it into Ethereum? You know, you could, and the time to do that would be if we retest the 21-week simple moving average for Bitcoin, or we retest $34,500. That's when you would probably want to do it. You'd probably want to sell your AVAX up there or whatever altcoin it is, wait for Bitcoin to bleed back down, and then go into Bitcoin or ETH. That's how I would go about it. But I agree. I think, you know, the other thing, the other thing I'll say on that is, if you're wanting to sell for a loss, you really should go back and analyze your decision-making process for what made you buy that altcoin in the first place, right? Because
that's a good point.
Like, if you bought this altcoin, you didn't plan for this scenario. Like, you didn't, and you're wanting to sell it now, like you didn't plan for the scenario of a bear market, which we knew was going to happen sooner or later. Like, we always get a bear market, right? So, like, go back. So the next time you go to buy an altcoin, you don't make the same mistake of buying an altcoin that you don't believe in. And want to sell if it drops in price.
That's a good point.
You know, I also got I got into Decentraland. I think it was 8 cents, and then I think I sold it at 20.
I got in at Cosmos at like $2, and I sold it at 12. We've all had those days. We've all had those plays. But anyways, Forrest, thank you so much for your time, my friend. Yeah. We appreciate you as always. Crypto fan, make sure you guys go check out Forrest's YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter. And also, if you want to use his super easy DCA strategy, go sign up for Crypto Stackers Pro. Use the red and green easy bands. It's about as simple as it could possibly get. So, Forrest, thank you again, my friend. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Next week,
Thanks,
brother.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Take care, Forrest. Bye. That was about as simple of an investment strategy I've heard anyone say.
Well, hey, not financial advice, but research advice for your own advice.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I use Crypto Stackers Pro. Yeah. It's super easy. If you guys use it, just green bands, DCA. Above green bands, stop DCA. Red bands, DCA out.
Yeah, like, I mean, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be doing your research off of straight YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, you should like look to see where you're at, you know, financially. What are your personal goals, and then use the tools that are readily available to you to make your best investment decisions for yourself and in your own little time horizons. And what better way to do it than with trading software that can literally give you analytics on entry and exit positions, and just kind of take away the human sentiment from it. And you can just look at the charts and you can say, hey, way overextended. All the analytics tell me might not be the best time to go in, even though my brain is saying I want to get into that project. Maybe you should wait. So
I was talking to a friend of mine, Matt. He's big into Gala and the Ludium, and he was like, there was this Dutch auction on this land. I know I should have waited, but I FOMO'd in. He spent 60% more than what he could have gotten it for if he would have just waited. Yeah. So when you're trading, when you're making financial decisions, take emotion out of it so you can make it with a clear head conscience. All right. Thanks again to Forrest. Let us move on to our very next segment of our show, the hot take.
It's hot.
So we haven't touched on this yet, and it was the main focus of our thumbnail and title, but news is coming out that there's a very good chance New York will soon ban proof-of-work mining. That includes Bitcoin.
It passed
they just passed it.
They passed it. It just needs to be signed by the...
it could be signed or vetoed. Thank you, Robin, for clarification. It could be signed or vetoed by the governor.
But usually it's not vetoed. It's usually more of a rare case. And even if it does get vetoed, it can go back down to is a chamber,
to the House, whatever.
It's not a Congress. It's a local government thing. So it's not really House and Senate thing, but kind of the same similar structure. Anyways,
so here's
it's gonna pass. That's the what's
our last stance for a fellow New York, not fellow, but for all you New Yorkers out there, is for your governor to straight veto the bill. Don't see that happening, like Robin said. But here's the hot take. Will a New York ban have a domino effect on the rest of the country? You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
I can take it. And now as far as domino effect, okay, so I look at two rows of dominoes here. Okay, will the domino effect cause other states to ban crypto mining, particularly Bitcoin? Possible. I could see one, maybe two other states. Wouldn't surprise me if California all of a sudden banned it. They're all of Greenpeace over there.
That's not going to happen. The governor literally just signed a pro crypto
I'm
bill
just
or whatever
giving
he's
you,
saying.
things change.
As long as Rhode Island doesn't ban it, we're good.
So, anyways, I still think it's unlikely. I think New York has a hard stance on cryptocurrency already. You have the crypto license or whatever it's called over there. And so when that passed, you could have said the same thing. Is this going to translate across to the states? Possibly, but did it? No. And I think the same kind of mentality is going to happen with cryptocurrency mining. I think this is going to be a one-off event. Is it possible? I guess unlikely. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Here's what.
But what I think is going to happen is that because of the financial sectors and because the financial center for the world, for the U.S., is in New York City, I think that the stain that this puts on Bitcoin, as far as it being dirty energy, as far as it not being green, and you can point the finger when somebody brings up global warming, and you can be like, well, that global warming, it's all because of Bitcoin. And that we've heard that time and time again. And so for me, I think this, because it is in the backyard of Wall Street, I think it could easily influence investors, or at least keep investors away from getting into Bitcoin. And I don't see major institutions getting into Ethereum and altcoins. I just think they're not developed enough. There's not enough liquidity. And so do I believe it'll be this like, oh my God, we're going to go to bear market, Bitcoin's done? No. But I do think it takes a little bit of wind out of the sails. I think there are going to be a handful of companies that perhaps will be like, well, we don't want to invest in Bitcoin because, New York bans mining. The sentiment around the world is that it's dirty energy. And it's absolutely asinine. We can get into the FUD that article
such
is.
A dead argument. I don't even want to talk about it.
You can't dispute the temperature in the room. And when I say temperature, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just literally like saying the temperature of the room, like that.
Sentiment.
People that aren't crypto savvy, that are CEOs and board members that make financial decisions, they at face value might think it's bad and might not invest. And whether or not that percentage gets larger because of this, I think it might.
Before I get into my take, what's interesting to me is New York would become the first one to ban it. And this Senator Lummis's bill that's supposed to come out, I believe, this month or next month, had a co-sponsor that made it into a bipartisan bill. And that other senator was a Democrat by the name of Kirsten Gillibrand. We'll pull up my laptop, Rocco. And look where what state she represents. She represents the state of New York. So it's funny to me that for once in who knows how many years, you have a Republican and a Democrat come together, co-sponsor a bill on something that's related to money and finance. And then you have on the back end, the governor of New York getting ready to sign a mining ban in the state of New York. So that's just interesting to me. But I think it's actually going to have the opposite effect. I think there are enough states, enough governors in this country that understand what Bitcoin mining can do to their states, for their citizens, for their taxes, to help secure their energy grid. And I think as that mining power leaves New York, it'll go to states like Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, Nevada,
Georgia,
the great state of Maine. There's talks about North Dakota people setting up rigs in North Dakota.
What about South Dakota?
South Dakota, they got Mount Rushmore.
Don't leave South Dakota out of this.
What I'm trying to say though is even if it does happen, it will not. It'll have the opposite. It'll have a positive domino effect. Is that just what happened in China? Over 50% of the mining, the Bitcoin hash rate came from China. When they shut it down, what happened? Moved to other countries. Same thing in the U.S. New York shuts it down. Going to move to other states.
Now, so we're pretty much in agreement that it's not gonna spread like a virus, right?
Hell no.
So we're in agreement there.
Yes.
Now, do you kind of see eye to eye when it comes to the potential hesitancy when it comes to institutions investing in cryptocurrency because in their own backyard in New York City it's banned, or do you think that's kind of an afterthought?
I think it's an afterthought.
So you don't think it'll affect institutions?
When you got when you got America having the highest hash rate, and you have one outlier state that says, "Oh, we want to ban it," and the other state's like, "Fine, we'll."
But it happens to be the same state that has Wall Street.
Yeah, okay, but no,
and that's where the investors are.
I know, but also that's where the hedge funds.
I mean,
the
I don't really agree strongly with my side. I'm just kind of thinking where you are. I'm just thinking. I'm like, could be possible. It could scare out investors. Now, I don't see it dramatically affecting Bitcoin, but I think it's a real possibility.
Well, New York's always had outlandish things they do and bills they try to pass, and we have a couple of people from New York in here. They can probably attest to that. So I don't think so. I highly doubt it. Like I said, if anything, it'll get picked up by other states, and I don't see it. I don't see it happening. So, all right, let's move on to our last segment, second to last segment of our show, the talking points. Just to piggyback off of our hot take. By the way, why do they say piggyback? No one ever rides the back of a pig. They do. Why don't they say horseback? Horsebacking off, because you ride the horse. No? Okay. Really, Rocco? Really, bro? I will.
There we go.
I will shave that head of hair you got, bro.
The production value we're getting here, bro.
Bro, you bet. I swear to God, bro, you're fired. Eddie, you're hired again.
Please, more crickets, because
I feel like Donald Trump. I fired and hired like 20 people in the last week.
We need one of those. So, those.
Yeah, for Robin's story time, just play it over him speaking
he's
the entire
getting nervous
time.
and mad over here. He's all,
I'm so nervous.
Robin's story time sucks.
Oh my God! If we had a blood pressure monitor, you'd see my blood pressure.
Yeah,
would be so high.
You're up there, bro.
Eddie, please help me, bro.
Do you ever use those free ones at Walgreens?
No.
I feel like those are always inaccurate. I mean, is it just? I don't know if I have any facts behind it, but I'm just thinking. I'm like, if you're sitting at the Walgreens free blood pressure reading thing, go make a real appointment. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, whatever. Anyways, New York just passed a bill cracking down on Bitcoin mining. Here's everything that's in it. It's the measure now heads to the desk of Governor Kathy Hochul, who could either sign or veto it. Lawmakers in New York passed a bill to ban certain Bitcoin mining operations that run on carbon-based power sources. It would make New York the first state in the country to ban blockchain technology infrastructure. Industry insiders also tell CNBC it could have a domino effect across the U.S. We just talked about this. Now, the bill calls for a 2-year moratorium on certain cryptocurrency mining operations which use proof of work. If it passes for 2 years, unless a proof of work mining company uses 100% renewable energy, it would not be allowed to expand or renew permits, and new entrants would not be allowed to come online. So, again, I am a little surprised, seeing as the senator that represents the state of New York is all for crypto, and then you have the New Yorkers in the backyard over here trying to ban it. So, Robin,
I mean, as stupid as this bill is, at least you're grandfathered in, right?
No, because when you have to renew your permit, and they won't let you renew your permit.
Well, at least most of Bitcoiners are pretty green. So
keep trying, buddy. Keep trying.
I'm just trying to get some positivity out of this. That's all I'm saying is that a lot of energy. I know a lot of the power grid in the tri-state area. I'm not exactly sure where, but I think it might be New York. They get a lot of energy from Niagara Falls, So the Niagara Falls, they had a city or town literally like at the base of Niagara Falls, and there was a big boom there back in like the 60s, and it's people have moved out, so there's a ton of excess energy. So a lot of the miners that were set up in China have relocated, and that's one of the areas. And so that right there is green. There's no carbon footprint when it comes to hydroelectric power. So if you're looking for something good out of this bill, I mean, I guess it still permits these entities from operating, but still pretty stupid.
What are your thoughts, Eddie? You've been pretty quiet over there about this whole situation. What do you think it'll cause? You think it'll cause other states to start banning, or it'll just other states will pick up what New York City's leaving behind?
Well, who else is as ridiculous as New York?
California. But the governor already came out with his little executive order.
Yeah,
They want to make essentially California a crypto hub. Everyone
I think
said
it maybe, but just depends how, a lot of states want the Commission Act, like the carbon footprint. I think the first thing they're going to go after is the Bitcoin mining, because it's probably like the weakest out of all of them. Like we talked about it weeks ago about organizations like paying people to like get rid of the paperwork or whatever they do to like get rid of emission. So I think if states want to follow other states about the carbon footprint, I think they're going to go after Bitcoin. So maybe.
You're saying that's low hanging fruit? That's
Yeah.
like the
It's a
easiest thing to
scapegoat, man. Here's the thing. Nobody represents Bitcoin. There's no company or no individual. So, here's the thing. If you're a congressman or you're in Senate or you're a senator and you're trying to combat pollution and global warming, if you combat Exxon, you're going to get some pushback, not only from Exxon, but also the people that work there, the oil refineries and all of these places. And then, all these people that rely on that business structure. Same can be said if you're like, well, you know what? Servers take up a ton of energy. The same way that you have the ASICs that mine Bitcoin, you have servers that are moderating and running chat rooms and powering our social media. Huge amount of energy. You're pretty damn comparable. Nobody's sitting here telling you that servers are dirty and that you need to unplug those. And the reason being is because there's a company behind it. Nobody's gonna go stand up and go like, "Hey, Amazon ain't doing it. They ain't doing a damn thing for global warming. If anything, they're hurting it. They're gonna get so much pushback. But here's the thing: you could push it Bitcoin, and there's no CEO. There's no board for Bitcoin. And so because of that, you're not pissing off anybody that is a CEO that funds your campaign. You push against Exxon, you're losing a lot of money from different areas. You have all these union workers that work for the gas companies. You have these coalitions and these different lobbying groups. Bitcoin is just it's like somebody that can't defend itself, outside of the Bitcoin mining council, which not many people, really, not many, but nobody's really listening to the Bitcoin mining council. It's Michael Saylor and who is it, Jack Dorsey and a handful of other people. But anyways. Yeah, maybe later on down the road, but realistically, you can poke at Bitcoin and you can point the finger, and that's the easy way to go because there's not going to be a lot of pushback. And so I think for that reason alone, ain't no congressman going to stand up and be like, "Hey, the aviation industry is polluting this planet because they are one of the major polluters." Ain't nobody saying, "Hey, should we be launching thousands of rockets every day that have thousands of pounds of liquid fuel that get converted straight into carbon dioxide? Is it really necessary?" You can make a case for it. You can make a case for Bitcoin, be like, it is necessary. At the end of the day, you're just picking and choosing the battles. And Bitcoin can't defend itself because it's decentralized. And so for that reason, I think a lot of congressmen and senators, they go that route because it's easy.
With you. I think it's to Bitcoin's benefit that it's decentralized. Because it's not, you don't have a face to Bitcoin. So when CEO
I'm not
of a
saying
company,
it's bad to be decentralized. I'm just saying the reason that the congressmen pick on Bitcoin is because there's nobody to defend it.
Yeah, there is. you have, instead of one or two people defending it, you have multiple people defending it. And these are people like Elon Musk, Michael Saylor and Jack Dorsey and
That's
Mike
it,
Novogratz.
man. But you
what do you
don't-
mean? You're talking 4, 5, 6 billionaires.
They don't represent Bitcoin. They're just fanatics of it, and they're highly invested in it themselves.
They are on the
But-
Bitcoin Mining Council.
But that's what I'm
So-
saying. And now, times have changed, because in the past, if it was 2016, you could bash Bitcoin all you want and there was no pushback. And now you're seeing that the next presidential candidate, for example, is going to probably endorse Bitcoin. Same thing when it comes to major seats in Congress. And so things have changed. And the people themselves, the investors, the retail investor, is identifying the value of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, and they are not okay with banning and regulating and stomping on. And so the sentiment is changing. However, compared to Exxon, believe me, if you had to pick, if you were running for office, okay, do I slam coal mining and gas fracking and oil, whatever, and basically alienate my entire state against me, or do I just point the finger at Bitcoin and call it a day? And then I not only am I addressing the green thing, but you get what I'm saying? Like, if you had to pick, more pushback when it comes to other dirty energy sources versus Bitcoin, for the simple fact that Bitcoin doesn't have a face at the top of the chain.
I agree that it is easier to point the finger at Bitcoin, but I disagree that it's to their detriment that they don't have a face. I think it's the opposite.
I never said it was to their detriment.
That's what you said.
I just said that's the reason. I said the reason the congressmen are
It's
pointing
'cause
the
it doesn't
finger
have a
is
face.
because they don't have a face. That's it.
I think it's a
I
good
don't
thing they
think
don't have
I don't think it's bad at all. Not in the slightest. I think it's a great thing. I'm just saying the reason that people want to point the finger at Bitcoin is because there's nobody there to push back.
But you better be careful, because as mainstream adoption grows in the retail sector for Bitcoin, you're going to get people in your state that are going to start pushing back, and then you have run into the risk of not getting reelected again.
And every
we're not
year,
there yet, but
every year as the network grows, more and more individuals will stand up and speak against the censorship of Bitcoin, either the network itself or its mining.
yeah. I think when we look back 20 years from now, and we look at, days like this where we talk about stuff like this, we're going to be like, we were so early, so happy we stayed patient, and everything's just going to fall into place. All right. Speaking of the U.S. senators, a U.S. Senate candidate will propose to make Dogecoin legal tender if he wins. Tommy Ursich Jr., who's a U.S. Senate to represent California, vowed that he will draft a bill proposing Dogecoin as an official payment method if he is victorious. To accomplish that goal, he called upon the help of the software engineer Billy Marcus, who's the co-founder of Dogecoin, who does not give two craps about Doge, who slams it on Twitter all the time, and the world's richest person, Elon Musk, who some people now are saying is a little loopy because all he does is tweet weird things. So, yeah, this is dumb. This is stupid.
Do you think he's going to win?
This is asinine.
Do you think he's going to win?
This is idiotic. Do I think he's going to win? Who knows? Who cares? But do you think this bill he's going to propose is going to get passed in Congress? Hell no. They're going to look at him and be like,
No, you're right.
hey, you're 37. Just go get us donuts. Go get us a coffee. This is dumb. Exactly. Talk says the creator hates it. Yeah. All he does
do
is
you think
slam
this
dunk.
is like a look at me moment?
Bro, no, it's an
right?
attention
Like,
grab.
he can't literally believe that himself, right?
Listen, he knows. He says this is going to circulate all in the crypto media outlets. It might even circulate on the mainstream outlets. And this is his rallying cry. You're going to see more of this, you guys.
Do you think he truly wants it himself, or do you think it's just a publicity
bro,
ploy?
98% of what these politicians promise before they get elected, and they don't even.
So
come
what you're
to-
saying is that you don't believe he
It's a
believes
PR
it, right?
ploy, bro.
There you go.
Hell
And that's
no.
all I want to know.
Hell no, he's a PR ploy.
Definitely.
It's a dumb idea. Eddie, yes? Good job. All right, some bullish Bitcoin news. Over 200,000 Bitcoin, not dollars, Bitcoin is now stored in Bitcoin ETFs and other institutional products. Bitcoin investment vehicles are seeing gargantuan inflows this month, which is a fresh sign that traders' appetite for Bitcoin exposure is mounting.
You know, I read a different article that had a different sentiment, and they were saying that the fact that it's only $200,000 or was it $200 million is that it's lackluster.
Okay. Well, here's how about some growth numbers here?
I know. I was just saying. I was reading an article yesterday, and they're like, "Yeah, womp womp womp," and I was like, "Well, no. I mean, the fact that it passed is great. I mean, I don't know. I was just kind of putting out what the sentiment is from other news and articles."
So, in the first few days of June alone, more than 7,000 Bitcoin flowed into the ETPs, which instead of exchange traded funds, is exchange traded products. So it covers a vast majority of it. It's a bigger umbrella, essentially. Almost as much for the entire month of May. So in the first 3 days of June, they brought in more Bitcoin than they did in the entire month of May. In the month of May was 97.65, almost. And then in the first 3 days of June, 7,000 Bitcoin. And then this is a little chart here if you want to take a look. Bitcoin under management by ETFs globally. April, May, June, you've seen growth month over month. Started April at 188,000 Bitcoin, and now we're over 200K. So as we keep growing, and this is during macroeconomical terrible sentiment. People thinking we're going to be in a recession, this, that, and that, and this is still happening. I think this is great. This is very bullish for Bitcoin. Might not see anything as far as happening to the price in the short term, but long term, this is great. More adoption, more money flowing into the space.
Yeah, definitely long term is great. I still do think it underperformed, in my opinion. I mean, I get it. We're in a bear market, so to see these numbers are a good thing. But, you know, I'm still in the camp that, you know, an ETF and one of the major economic players in the world is, you know.
Making it legal tender?
No, I'm saying not legal tender. I'm saying this is Australia, right?
No, this is global. This is global.
Global ETFs?
Global.
Okay. Well, anyways, with the addition of Australia, the global ETF, I think for where it could be or where it should be, I think it's way lower. And, you know, we sit here and talk about, well, when an ETF comes out, it's gonna pull us out of a bear market and all this. Well, you know what? There's ETFs in several countries. And so
yeah, but they're not even close to as economically strong as the U.S. is.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, Brazil, top 10 country in the world. Australia, top 10 country in the world.
Australia's now top 10.
Rocco? And Canada. Canada, you know, top.
How about Japan?
Japan's number 3.
Yeah,
they don't have an ETF for it.
They just.
But here's the thing. So, you know, and then on top of that, think about it. If you're also an institution, you're holding Bitcoin. Let's say you're a publicly traded company in Australia or in Canada or Brazil, and you have Bitcoin. ETF comes out. What do? You're like, okay, we're paying for this. You know, we're at risk for permanent loss, you know, with the loss of seed phrase, whatever. Anyways, the proper business structure would be to liquidate and then hold ETF assets on hand. It's a little bit more structurally sound. And then like that, you can, you know, do your, you can have your paperwork all online. So basically every stocks and your commodities and equities and all that. And so easier to announce profits, losses, and have everything on paper than instead of having the key phrase or the seed phrase. Basically what I'm saying is companies sold their Bitcoin and then bought ETF. So you might be like, hey, all of a sudden we had 200,000 Bitcoin get bought up for the ETFs. But perhaps 100,000 of those Bitcoin were already held by the same companies. They just sold it and then decided to hold an ETF instead of trying to custody it themselves. Because if I'm a publicly traded company and I'm custodying my own Bitcoin, there's all kinds of potential problems there. You know, there's all kinds of, you know, you can lose your seed phrase, you can get hacked, you can get whatever. If you hold the ETF, you're good. You don't have to do anything. So that's what I'm saying.
So you're saying
what I'm saying is the numbers there aren't just straight a brand new company came in and bought Bitcoin. You had Bitcoin, you sold it, you bought an ETF instead. Just it's like moving from one wallet to another.
That's possible.
It's not possible. It's happening. So whether or not it's a big percentage.
Rocco, did you find out about Australia? No. Eddie, will you research where does Australia rank in terms of economic
GDP? That's all you know.
Yeah. All right. So this one, not going to spend too much time, but just still want to bring you the news. Solana is getting some help in the form of a Oracle service, and it being the gold standard of Oracle services, Chainlink will be integrated into Solana. Thank you. Outside the top 10. Now,
Only by 3 though.
doesn't matter. You're a sore loser, bro. You are a complete sore loser. God, it's okay to admit you're wrong sometimes, my friend. All right. Chainlink announced today that its decentralized price oracles have become available on Solana. That was on purpose. To begin with, developers will be able to leverage 7 different Chainlink price feeds, including Bitcoin to USD, ETH to USD, and Circle to USD trading pairs. Hundreds of price feeds will additionally become available in the coming months. Chainlink also said it wants to bring more of its services to Solana, including its proof of reserve service for asset attestations. This is very important. Its keepers for event-driven and time-based automation, and its VRF function for sourcing randomness. I mean, are you surprised, that it took this long for them to integrate the gold standard of oracles? I feel like if you want to be a serious contender and you're doing a smart contract platform, you have to have Chainlink integrated. You have to. Right or wrong?
I mean, I get it. They're the biggest
Soluna.
one. They're the biggest.
Is there some conspiracy to go against me today or something? Rocco, did you and Robin have a chat when I was not here? Yeah, the random ones that you just picked.
No, Chef put that's your face. It pops up there different.
Oh, it just says David, you're wrong. Oh yeah, but that's what he meant. Same thing. Anyways, go ahead. At least I got my boy Eddie on my side. What's up?
What was I saying?
You were saying that I'm the best host on the show.
You're saying Solana's a beta.
Oh, Solana. Oh yeah, with Chainlink.
I'm tired of Solana.
Yeah. All I'm saying.
Just give your 2 cents real quick and let's move on. We're almost done with the show.
All I'm saying is that Chainlink is they are the number one oracle, but you don't have to have Chainlink to operate.
But they're the gold standard.
They're the biggest chain.
They're the gold standard. They have the most node operators. They have the most exact data.
Okay.
There's
Sure.
a reason.
Sure.
Okay,
You
thank
don't
you,
need Ethereum to run smart contracts. Other platforms run smart contracts.
You
You
don't
don't
need
need Chainlink to run a smart contract platform. There are other oracles. That's all I'm saying.
Chainlink is the gold standard. So
Okay.
anyway,
Okay. So if you're gonna have an NFT, it can only be minted on Ethereum. It's the gold standard.
no, they can't only. But I mean,
Well, there you go. You can't only
look at the facts.
There you go.
More money
The
is made on
the
Ethereum.
facts are that most people use the use the Ethereum network for NFTs.
You know what,
and
Robin?
the fact is,
Robin?
most layer 1 chains use Chainlink. All I'm saying is
Robin?
that you can have a perfectly functional business model running other oracles, and in the same way you can have another functional business model not using Ethereum for your NFTs.
Robin,
What?
that is such a good segue into our first article in our NFT section. Proposal to build Bored Apes' other side on Immutable X protocol has been submitted. Now, Immutable X is a layer 2 platform on Ethereum. Now, what does the community want? 99.95% of current participants agree that ApeCoin should stay within Ethereum. Maybe because it's the gold standard? Probably. You know, when Solana...
I agree with you that the Ethereum network is the go-to network for NFTs at the moment. And
gold
so
standard.
is
Chainlink.
Chainlink for oracles.
And David is the gold standard for colors.
And all I'm saying is that you can have a functional and thriving NFT market that's not on Ethereum in the same way that you can have a functional and thriving layer
Semi-functional,
1
if you're on
without
Solana.
Chainlink. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Semi-functional if you're on Solana. You know how many Solana NFT
Yeah, you
projects...
are right about that semi-functional, yeah.
Listen, you know how many NFT projects that were getting ready or in the minting process on Solana when the network went down for 4 hours?
How many?
Well, people lost millions of dollars.
You asked me.
I mean, I don't know the exact number.
Well,
but a
then
lot.
why'd you ask me?
But it was a lot. So, Immutable X, not a bad idea. Going back to the original article here, Rocco. Another person that threw their hat in the ring was Avalanche. Ava Labs proposed Yuga Labs' Other Side metaverse game and ApeCoin to consider rolling out the metaverse project on the Avalanche subnet. And they try to lure him in by saying that the community could access the $290 million incentive program on Avalanche that's dedicated to back users and development costs. So, community has spoken. We're staying on Ethereum.
You know what this article tells me?
You're wrong.
No. You know I'm probably gonna try to bash ApeCoin, but I'm gonna stay away.
Thank you very much.
Stay away from that. But what it shows me
Robin,
is
you're
that,
maturing in front of our eyes.
that in the same way that
reptile.
the same way that the Bitcoin network and the Bitcoin maxis were all like, hey, we're not going to use layer 2s. Bitcoin is the gold standard. We're going to do all of our transactions on Bitcoin. It's the most secure way. The sentiment changed over time. And from the last bull cycle to this bull cycle, or the 2017, was that it was Bitcoin layer 1 all or nothing. Now you saw a change, and now people are using the Lightning Network. We're seeing Chipotle use the Flexa network, and so you're seeing the utility of Bitcoin being used on more scalable layer 2s, right?
Yeah.
And even the Bitcoin maxis now are standing up and saying, hey, well, the Lightning Network is so great, it's so great, it's so great. I've seen the same thing happen out of Ethereum. And it used to be you only used the base layer of Ethereum. And now you're starting to see Immutable X, starting to see what's the DEX?
On Immutable X?
No, on Ethereum, Loopring. So you're starting to see people use Loopring. You're starting to see layer 2s.
Okay, yes,
come to fruition. You're seeing the Polygon Matic, and so I think what you are gonna have is people are gonna get off the Ethereum network as far as the layer 1, the base layer. They're gonna start using this second layer.
Well, I mean,
and at some point there's gonna be a shift, even with the NFTs.
But here's the thing. We all know, and to what you guys might think, the merge is not going to decrease transaction costs. What will, though, is when they introduce sharding.
Yeah.
But when that happens, what's going to be the point of layer 2s? What's going to be there?
The sharding is the layer 2s, essentially.
So then Polygon goes bye-bye, Loopring goes bye-bye.
No. It just becomes more efficient and it becomes more scalable.
Less people want to use it.
Now here's the thing. It's not, you don't just pick one or the other. It's a thriving ecosystem that works in multiple layers. So just because the layer you have now is highly dependent, if you want scalable and cheap transactions, when you introduce sharding and roll-ups, doesn't mean that you abandon the base layer. You're just building on top of it. And even Polygon Matic, even Loopring are going to take advantage of the sharding and the roll-ups. And they're going to integrate that into their own protocol. And if anything, it makes those layer 2s stronger and better and faster anyways, and gives them less points of failure as well. And that's what we had when it came up to the Optimism just rolled out like a couple days ago. Yep. That's a huge upgrade,
and it just got listed on Coinbase too.
Yeah, and then we also have what's that? What's the A one? It's another. It's like
A Arweave?
No. Anyways, another big protocol coming out, and then we also got Big Chili Willy over here dropping the stickers up here. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. And then by the way, man, we're still 2 members shy of getting a new emoji, so don't miss out. We got we have some private content coming up for our hodler and whale members. We're going to be filming that first thing next week. Should be out by next week at some point. Yeah. We have it's not going to be a deep dive, but more of a personal kind of maybe behind the scenes kind of thing.
Maybe do a video of me and Robin slapboxing. I would destroy him. Real quick, we are done, by the way.
Slap him with not my hands. I'll
real
just leave
quick,
it there.
yes. Also, if you want to get some Sin City merch, if you're a Whale member, you do have your 10% off for life, as long as you're a Whale member, on everything on the store. Make sure you go check it out. The link is in the description of this video.
What was it? Was it Jason? He posted a picture of him wearing a T-shirt on our Twitter handle, and then
Crypto Junkie said he ordered some stuff.
Marky Mark ordered a bunch of stuff.
Yes. Marky Mark, if you can, when you get your stuff, you want to show it off, tweet it. We will retweet it and we will tag you. All right, so real quick
What did Broke Yoshi say? Rocco with shampoo commercial. Hair emoji.
That's actually pretty good. Real quick, before we sign off, I want to show you guys something to keep an eye on over the weekend. Rocco, pull up my laptop.
What are you doing this weekend?
Keep an eye. Hold on one second. I'm going to be doing this. Keep an eye on this 28,700, this downtrend line, guys. We are getting ready to test it again. If we break under, we're going to about 27,000. If we hold steady, I can see a rally up to 32.5. All right, that'll do it for our show today. On behalf of myself, Rocco, Eddie, Robin, we thank you so much. Also, big thank you to Forrest again for coming on our show, doing some amazing TA. Roll the outro music, sir. Hope you guys enjoyed this week of Sin City Crypto. Again, we apologize for the delays we've had throughout the week, but moving forward, we good.
Still didn't tell me what you're doing this weekend.
I told you, I'm watching the chart.
That's what you're doing all weekend?
And I got to put together our new deep dive. Got a new deep dive. We didn't have one this week, guys, because of all the issues we were having. We want to make sure the live was running 100%. Getting back to the deep dive starting this Wednesday. All right, enjoy your weekend, my friends. We will see you Monday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. Peace.
Margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. Smoking on the island, say she wanna ride with me. Took her on a flight, set all her bags from Italy. I sent her with a friend, they shopping there religiously. Whoa, whoa, yeah. She say she love me, but that's when she rockin' Prada bag. Said she ready for the next, I won't not so fast. Slow down, slow down, slow down, girl, don't you crash. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Cause we can mess up that pretty face, but we can fuck up that pretty lady. Tryna kiss up, I'm in your place. Man, this shit so crazy. Never thought I'd be doing shit like this again. Put that effort in, girl, then I will pay you. Crash that thing out the park, now I feel like Babe Ruth, baby. This shit I can't do, baby. No, I can't move, baby. Nothing I can't prove, baby. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. Question marks along your brain, wonder if you should try again. Look at me inside your braces. Can't focus when we face to face. Plenty things I could go say. Name a place I go and pay at. Said she want no boo. Been around the world, plenty things I can show you. Taking flights to GA for our soul food. Gotta pay 1K for GA at my shows too. Keep it 1K with my fans even at my lows. Ooh. That's why I'm back. Show your man the things I've showed you. Tell your man how I used to hold you, but I won't hold you. Your new man is lame and all I spoke is true. Light one smoke for you. That sadness comes with cope too. This madness come with shit that's overdue. You strong with yourself, nobody else holding you, but I ain't holding you. You the one I need when I'm off that perk or two. Hit that thing early, got you sleep like curve for you. All these lame ass bitches I curve for you. All these packs and pearls I burnt with you. It's up now, baby, it's stuck. Nigga look, but they cannot. They gon' hate, so I keep that tuck. All this ice on me like pucks. I work hard, don't need no luck. Only thing I need is my Glock. When there's bread, these birds gon' flock. When they dead, I let them rot. I ain't